And this is my lovely co-host, my cafe con leche, officially Jorge.
Good morning, Kish. How are you?
Honey, I'm all wrapped.
I know. I see you in your Essentially Tees shop head of
Yes. Listen, I was like, my hair may be short, but sometimes I just miss my wrap, honey. I need to give people some light.
Courtesy of the Revelry box.
Yes, thank you, girl. Yeah, I love it. I had lipstick to match everything, honey.
What do you think about this chilly weather? I see we have like our leaves falling in the background.
Yes, and I'm in long sleeves because you know when you go touch the window and the door and it's like, oh, is that chilly? Oh my, it's a little chilly outside. I love it though. We only get like 2 weeks of fall.
Yeah, and it's like not even like 2 weeks in a row. It's kind of like a day or here or two. Yeah, if you put them all together, maybe.
Yeah, right.
But like you have to go through that phase of. Well, it'll be interesting because like maybe like we'll have an opportunity to wear like some of the things from our wardrobe finally.
Yes, honey. But listen, we have a whole full show coming up. But
first, coffee. And I need a lot of it.
Mocha in the Morning is brought to you in part by the Portico Cafe, where conversation, connection, and community create change.
All right, welcome back to Mocha in the Morning, where we're adding a little flavor to your morning blend. And of course, I'm your host, Miss Keisha Boyd. And once again, my co-host, officially Jorge, is here with me. And he has this week's steamers. What you got?
Good morning, everyone. Again, the steamer section is super packed. And I want to start off by congratulating all the honorees from the GRIO Awards. And that's the Association of Black Journalists, the Tampa Bay chapter, had their award ceremony last week. And we got the winners. So the honorees were Deanne King from Traffic and News on Channel 8. Alexia McKay, founder and publisher of Royalty Magazine. Hey, girl, we met her last year.
Hey. Ooh, that's my soror.
Mm-hmm. Right? Edward Morrow, reporter for Tampa Bay 10. Langston Taylor, the data reporter for Tampa Bay Times. And Monique Welch, which is the engagement producer for the Tampa Bay Times. They gave out thousands of dollars in scholarships. So congratulations to all of them. Way to go.
Yes.
You have the Country Music Awards that, are happening. You have the People's Choice Awards that happen. And Jennifer Lopez won the Icon Award.
Mm-hmm.
She was in tears, and she gave like a very special message out to all the little girls of the world of every color and of every race. So that was like pretty touching. You can read all about that on people.com.
Awesome.
And then also, the Soul Train Awards are going to be on BET. All the nominees came out. The host came out. Go to BET.com to get that information. I can't wait to see that. I love it. Oh, man, Soul Train just brings back all kinds of memories, doesn't it?
And will Tisha, will Pam and Gina be hosting again?
We're going to wait and see because let me tell you, their opening number last year was out of control and amazing. It was
so fun.
Even I was out of breath. Even I was out of breath when they were done. I was like, seriously.
Oh my gosh.
And here's a big announcement.
What?
The Super Bowl, which of course is going to be in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
The Weeknd is going to be the headliner for the Super Bowl. And if you go to people.com again, Jay-Z said in a statement that this is going to be like the most extraordinary Super Bowl experience ever. So, yeah. with an extraordinary performer.
All I have to
Is he talking about Saturday and Sunday, or is he talking about somebody else? I mean the weekend. Yeah.
All right.
Here's another big announcement. All right, so does everyone remember the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah.
All right, well, November 19th, finally Will Smith has on HBO Max. Boom, the big reveal. Here it is, the reboot of The Fresh Prince. Nice to see that family all grown up in a reunion kind of moment.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like, I will be planted waiting to see this.
All right, and then here's another one. I don't mean to drag this into the situation, but RuPaul's Drag Race continues to go international. So there's the original RuPaul's Drag Race, stateside. Then there's RuPaul's Drag Race United Kingdom, RuPaul's Drag Race Holland. There's RuPaul's Drag Race Thailand. There's RuPaul's Drag Race Canada. Now they added RuPaul's Drag Race España.
Right. Go ahead, RuPaul.
All right, Emmy winner and everything. So what I think is super fascinating about this is, RuPaul is that blend of America's Next Top Model and Project Runway. Mm-hmm. And talk about creating this global brand. Wow. You know what I mean? And I mean, especially for our LGBTQ youth to be able to have access to see all of this and so bravo, way to go to RuPaul's Drag Race. International.
Yes. Go ahead, RuPaul.
All right, and speaking of international,
what girl?
Beyonce has done it again. We all know that she dropped Drip 2, and she sent everyone some care packages. We missed that list, so maybe we'll be on the next drop.
Up there.
Maybe the next Drip, shall I say. But some celebrities who received some of the new stuff were, of course, Kerry Washington, Monique, right? And she responded with thank you, Beyonce, for thinking of us plus size girls.
Yes.
Very thoughtful and considerate. I say, good move, Beyonce.
Yeah.
Of course, Kalani also received some of the new wardrobe from Ivy Park. Pretty amazing stuff. And then, remember on Halloween?
Yeah.
Where the plus size model, Tabria Majors, did her Beyonce tribute.
Oh, she did that too. She did that.
I felt like that was a dream come true because vicariously through her. You know what I mean? Man, I would love to see that. I kind of felt like she did it.
I was
wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So Beyonce saw that video and she got a special package from Beyonce.
Oh, come through, B.
So that's what we gotta do. We have to do a tribute video. Hey, congratulations to Gabby Sidibe.
Yeah, Gabby Sidibe. Mm-hmm.
Well, this thing is a size 8.
Listen, hold on.
In the movie Precious.
Yes.
There was nothing wrong with her, but if she wants to be a size 8, all right.
Honey, she has definitely. I think what they're reporting is that whatever she's lost some weight. Okay, drastic.
Yeah, 150 pounds. You can read that at movies.com.
She looks amazing.
So if that's what she wants in her life, congratulations.
Yes, live her life.
And it's that time of year again for all of the men of the year. Yeah. And Q this time around has 3 men of the year. You have George Clooney. And then we have Trevor Noah from The Daily Show.
Yes.
And his hair have grown out and we love it. And we also have Megan Thee Stallion on one of the GQ covers of Men of the Year. All right.
And listen, let us not forget, Jorge. I'm going to add this onto your steamers that Michael B. Jordan was named the sexiest man alive, honey.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was getting to that.
Are you getting to that? Oh, I'm so excited, but I just jumped ahead.
I know, but and you should have. I mean, you beat me to the, to the cover.
Listen, I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, you know what the tea is though? A lot of people are like, because last year John Legend was on the cover, and we talked about it on the show, and some of the ladies on the show were like, "What? Why you hating on John Legend? He's a legend."
That's a whole no.
So I think people heard what you guys were saying, and what you ladies were saying, and there you go. Michael P. Jordan is this year's.
That one we'll take. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. And those are your steamers. Whew, we got to get through like all that because it was a lot.
I know, but it was all good stuff. Thank you so much, Jorge. Yay. And of course, coming right up, we have our Piping Hot segment with our lovely Mocha Marbles. But you stay tuned. This is Mocha in the Morning, where we're adding a little to your morning blend. We'll be right back.
Mocha in the Morning's Piping Hot Topics has been brought to you by Patty's Peppers, Hungarian hot and sweet peppers. Which will you choose? Why not both?
We would like to welcome one of our new partners to the show, Patty's Peppers, Hungarian hot and sweet peppers.
And they come in this zesty garlic and sweet heat. And just because you are a Mocha Marvel, you can get them for 50% off. Just use the promo code MOCHA.
That's right. Welcome.
So Keisha, which ones are you going to get?
I'll take the sweet.
Well, why get one when you can get both?
That's right. All right, welcome back to Mocha in the Morning, where we're adding a little flavor to your morning blend. Once again, I'm your host, Miss Keisha Boyd, and it is time for our Piping Hot segment. And of course, I could not do it without my lovely Mocha Marbles sisters. Let me just welcome Miss Kenya Woodard.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the end of the week.
Whoop, whoop. All right, Miss Kia Shakur.
Everybody, I'm so happy to be chatting after the long week I've had. Ugh.
But you look good, girl. And Dr. Jen.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So excited to get this week done and roll into the next.
All right. Well, we have a jam-packed Piping Hot segment for you with plenty to talk about. So let's jump right on into it. Ladies, you're fired. How about that? There's a lot of that going around in this administration. So many people you won't see again because your wonderful president has just continued to lose his ever-loving mind. So let's try. He's trying to fire Fox News. Kia, what is going on with your president and all these? What? I mean, obviously we know he's special, but really, what's going on?
I don't know why he's my president. It's because I'm a Republican. Remember, I am not I'm not a what?
You're not one of those Republicans. I know, a Trump-supporting Republican. I know.
He really is doing an end of presidency kind of massacre where he's just firing people. He's pulling out of Iraq he's pulling out of Afghanistan. He's, so disappointed in Fox News because now Fox News is kind of pulling away from him and being more, unbiased like they're supposed to be. And he's having these weird meltdowns. Like, I'm all for him pulling out of Iraq, but what happened? Why now? It's really so much. Like, I can't even get it all into one soundbite. It's insane.
And, I think that him pulling out of Iraq is great, obviously, but I think he's trying to make good on some promises that he kind of spewed, during his campaign. And that's fine. Whatever. Bring our troops home. We want to see that. He's fired the top cybersecurity person. I mean, he's just going haywire. He's trying to just why won't he just concede? Like, we don't care about who you're firing. Why don't you just concede to Joe Biden? How about that? But Jen, your president is doing a whole bunch, but why is he not conceding to this race? Let's talk about that.
Like Kia said, he is not my president. Come on now. No, well, I mean, it's just weird to me. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that he's pulling out of Iraq and he's firing everybody and he's doing all of these things. I just, I don't trust him. I don't think any of us on the show trust him. So I don't know what it is. I know that the powers that be, the people in charge, are saying that everything that he's doing thus far is detrimental to democracy and is dangerous to us as American citizens. It shows his lack of ability to stay connected with what we really need, and his lack of leadership, to go around and start firing people. Like, I mean, he's got 62 days left or something to that extent. So, I mean, it's very, very scary, I think, for everything that he's doing. So I'm very concerned for the American people at this point.
Yeah. And then, we have, so much going on, just not with the firing and uncertainty and instability of our nation. Okay. We are the freest nation of the world, and we are still just the hottest mess of the world too. It's just okay. Anyway, and then we have Candace Owens talking about, Harry Styles and this cover. Kia, what is her issue? Harry Styles folks is coming for her though, but what is your girl's issue again?
I cannot stand this bad edge having, hot comb needing girl. I cannot stand this woman for everything. She jumps in at points where she is not needed. Nobody asked her about why she doesn't like the cover of Vogue. So what we're talking about is the cover of Vogue came out with Harry Styles. He's the British white guy from One Direction. And on the cover and in the photo spread, he's wearing different gowns under blazers. And he's just having fun with what it looks like and doing a photo shoot. No big deal. Nothing anybody in the past, Martin Lawrence hasn't done. Robin Williams hasn't done, David Bowie. All these men have done this before in the past. It's not that big of a deal. Candace Owens has now come out and said that this makes him not a manly man. Like, what happened to the manly man? Like, we need more manly men. And my thing is, what is a manly man? Like, what defines a manly man? My husband has a crush on Shamar Moore. Does that make him not a manly man? It's weird, but does that make him not a manly man? Like, what is the definition of a manly man? And why are you inserting yourself in something nobody asked you about? Go get your hair done.
Ooh. You know what? If she can't get her hair done, at least she could wrap it. Something. Okay. Kia, tell us how you really feel about her edges. You know what? Patty. But I love it because she gets no love over here at Mocha in the Morning, and she's certainly not on the barbecue list. She is not invited at all. We are certainly able and ready to trade her for another player. Now, listen. Let's talk about happier folks like Biden-Harris. Woo woo! The Biden-Harris train is trying their best to get this transition going. But of course, the Trump train and his administration is not having it. So let's talk about how this is going to happen, what this means for people, and we'll jump right into some things. Dr. Jen, they have, Pelosi is going to hopefully be the speaker for the next Congress. I believe that she will.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this student loan debt that could be canceled. Everybody wants to talk about that.
Yeah. So, Warren has always been really big. Elizabeth Warren has been really big and vocal about her desire for the government to take charge and say, all right, we're going to cancel student loans for everybody. Now, she basically, tweeted out to Biden, like, okay, you have the ability to make an executive order to give every borrower up to $50,000 off your student loans. So the problem is, and to be honest with everybody, because I don't want you to get your hopes up, is that I don't suspect that Biden will go to that extent. He's never come out and said that he wanted to go to that extent, and I don't really see it happening. And what I do see happening is that we'll probably see $10,000 of cancellation of student loans for every borrower, and it'll come kind of under the CARES Act, so to speak, under coronavirus relief programs. But if Warren had her way, and I wish she did, then we could be looking at 50,000, and maybe that's something that they'll talk about in the future. But the thing that's really important to people to understand, because there's so many people that say, "Oh, well, I paid off my student loans. It's not fair that they forgive them for other people." Well, okay, but at the end of the day, like, there's always going to be some people that manage to pay them off, and this is a much better position that it puts our entire economy in. Because if we look at things like how much the government has paid off for big banks, nobody seems to be complaining about that when we bailed out all these banks and AIG and Bank of America and all of that. But it seems like when it comes to bailing out, regular everyday citizens, we seem to have a problem. But so fingers crossed on what happens. But I will say probably $10,000 can be expected.
And Jen, I mean, $10,000 is $10,000, right? We'll take it. Yeah. But man, if we could get that 50, because I think about people who truly have big amounts of debt. I have a pretty good stack of debt from my master's degree, but I'm talking about lawyers and physicians. My goodness, like, I can't imagine having that much debt. But hopefully we'll have some relief from student loan debts. I know that most of us who've gone to school would be most appreciative of that. All right, now let's talk about what's to come. Obviously, we just talked about Warren. Trump is still claiming election fraud. But let's talk about Barack Obama, okay? And this new book or memoir that he is releasing. Kenya, honey, we love us some Barack Obama. Talk to us about this promised land, girl.
Yeah, so this book has been highly anticipated from the former president. As you know, he's been very silent throughout his time since he left office. He really hasn't had too much to say critically of his successor. And that's by, kind of like this unspoken rule that presidents have. They just don't speak ill of each other. They don't, say nasty things. However, he completely dropped all of that when out on the road campaigning for Biden. And, now with this book, we're going to get some, inside thoughts of what he was thinking through the transition process after, Clinton lost, Trump coming in, and then how Trump has ruled. We're going to get all of those details. And not to mention, he's also talking about some things that happened to him when he was campaigning for the presidency and some of the nasty upsets, that occurred, during that time. So we're talking about like the Jeremiah Wright situation, all of those things. I'm excited for this book, almost excited as I was for Michelle Obama's. So I can't wait to see what's in it.
All right. Well, listen, we already talked about, it's like 700 and something pages. So we're going to be around for inauguration by the time we finish it, for real. But either way, we support our president. He even has a playlist for his book. If you check out his Instagram page, you'll see the Promised Land playlist. He has like Beyonce on there, U2. He has Eminem on there, of course Stevie Wonder. So I was like, okay, I can get with this playlist, President Obama. All right, now let's talk about what else is going on in the political news. How about Simone Sanders? Kia, how do you feel about a Simone Sanders as a possible press secretary?
I'm not a fan. And, okay, whoa. Before you get your face, I see your face already. And I know all of our co-hosts who are in the screen are all making faces. The reason why is I feel like she is a very, very smart woman. She's very, very articulate. But sometimes when she gets pushed a little bit, she tends to go a little too homegirl. That's not what we're talking about. Like, she tends to get a little bit like that. And we already have Kayleigh McEnany, who goes full white girls, like, well, the president said this and we're just going to do this. And, oh, I didn't read that, but this is what he said. And now we're going to this other weird opposite direction. So I think she's smart. I think she's going to be straightforward. She's going to be like a black mom when you get in trouble after school with a belt at the door. Like, she's going to be like that. But I'm not sure if going to the two extremes is really what we need in a press secretary. But that's just me.
Okay, well, let's go over here to Dr. Jen. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, I think Kia's right in some ways. ultimately we don't want her to be that extreme because, we have different types of American people. So she'll have to, tune it down some. And I don't know that she can necessarily do that. We don't want people saying that now, she's an angry Black woman and all of that. We wouldn't want that to happen. And I don't think that would, but at the same token, like we have to be very cautious of the decorum, when we talk about the White House, because we need to bring it back a little bit to like normalcy again, to, like the Obama administration when things were like normal and not be so extreme.
All right. Now, Kenya, as a journalist, okay, tell me what your thoughts on, would be on Simone Sanders.
So I think we kind of, here's my thing. Any Black woman in that role is probably going to get tagged with an angry Black woman, tag. That's just going to happen. It's just how things are. I understand some of the concerns doing with Simone, but she's very, she just brings so much to that role. I think it's great. And a lot of people are kind of forgetting that she took a huge gamble when she switched from Bernie's campaign over to Joe's campaign. A lot of folks keep forgetting that. She made a huge gamble and it paid off very well. So her as press secretary, I think would be, a really great thing. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one celebrating. I say let her in, let her have it, let's go.
Listen, I'm all for it. I am all for it. And I hope that it comes to fruition and that is something that I think should be a great, she along with many other wonderfully talented Black women. We are certainly celebrating, absolutely, here. I've had an issue with somebody trying to pronounce your name. But listen, Amber Ruffin, comedian, okay, has been given the business, right? Because people act like they can't say Kamala, okay? They can't pronounce her name. She's like, you need to fix your mouth and get it right. And what I loved about her piece was she basically said, when we came over here, when you colonizers brought us over here, you renamed us from our original African beautiful name. And now when we got our freedom to name our children what we wanted to name them, now you don't want to act, you want to act like you can't pronounce the name. Okay, so you're going to get all of this culture, and I'm like, absolutely. They better say her name correctly in the way it should be said. Right, Jen?
I agree. And look, people look at my name all the time. It's Genevieve, it's Guinevere. I'm like, where did you see an R in my name, first of all? And my name's actually, it doesn't derive from an African, ancestry. It is French, so Genevieve. But at the same token, it's very important for people to take the time out to pronounce people's names regardless. I mean, if we could say Michelangelo and Leonardo and all these, names, I think we can say Kamala. So, it's really important that we take the time out to really learn the names of different cultures and different people.
Absolutely. And Kia, we love John. Okay, I'm going to learn that in a minute. Dr. Jen, I'm going to learn that other side, the French pronunciation, excuse me. But Kia, let's talk about it. We have a clip that will show you. Why are you laughing, Kia? You're not supposed to.
Genevieve.
That's what all I need to do is be taught. Genevieve. Okay. But what I'm saying though, Kia, how many cousins and sisters and aunts that we have that are Deontay's or, have some other, I think
can do you one better because I'm married to an Indian family because of my husband. My mother-in-law's name is Bhagwanti, and there are 11 letters in how to say her first name. If I went through all of my husband's family members' names, it's just one thing after another where it's like all these letters you have to pronounce, and it's just you just have to take the time to pronounce it, especially if it's somebody you respect. And people need to learn to respect her. And learning her name is that first step of basic respect, is learning that her name is Kamala. To the Indian people, it is not pronounced Kamala, but to everybody, if that's how she wants to pronounce it, it's Kamala, but that's how it's not how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Yeah, and also it's a tribute to her mom. I think her mom's name is Shamala, and so she's named after her mother. So absolutely, she can respect her name because you don't have to. All right. Yes. Okay. Now, moving on. Obviously, we are still in COVID, and things are still ramping up and still, completely out of control. Obviously, there's some news of Pfizer, Moderna, and those companies looking for cures and hopefully to release some cures real soon. But I mean, it's still a huge issue in the Black community that we must discuss. And now that we have, of course, our big holiday coming, like Thanksgiving, there are some concerns. Like, are y'all getting together with your families or what? Kenya, is it just going to be like you and your mom and your sister? Like, are you?
I haven't decided, but luckily for me, I usually cook Thanksgiving dinner, so I feel really bad for all the people who don't have Big Mama's mac and cheese recipe because they're going to be missing out this year, unfortunately. This is where we are, though, and it was kind of expected. We were kind of warned about this. Wear your mask. There is a wave 2 coming. It will be later in the year during flu season, and now here we are. And unfortunately, a lot of us are taking, a look at our Thanksgiving plans and trying to decide if it's even worth the risk. I don't think so. I love my family dearly. I am, however, leaning more towards just kind of, keeping things close to the house.
Yeah. Yeah, my family and I are going to get together, but not like we would. It usually it's like 50 of us, but it'll only be 8 of us this time around, So it'll be very different. It's our first year in this kind of, like, in all of my life, I've never been at a holiday where it's less than 50 people, or a nice crowd of people. So it's going to be very different, but we have to make the best of it, of course, in preparation of, rising COVID numbers and just trying to stay safe. Let's talk about Florida mayors, urging Governor DeSantis to kind of change his approach and get this under control in Florida. Kia, we know why this man is not moving, because he's a Trump do boy. But seriously, like, we've got to get this under control. Like, I don't know.
Here's the problem that Ron DeSantis dug himself into a hole that he won't be able to get out of. He was so gung-ho on being on the Trump side, and we're not shutting down, the economy is moving forward. So now if he flip-flops back, then it makes him look like he's weak-minded and he doesn't have a mind of his own, as Trump is telling him what to do. So he's a kind of damned if you do and it's a damned if you do situation. I believe that Florida does need to pull back on the restrictions. I absolutely do believe that. I think that I feel like Florida had cases spike a long time ago, and it was just like, oh, well, the death rate is fine, so these cases spiking is not that big of a deal. So I hope he does change, and it will risk his political career. But we're talking about the health and safety of Floridians all over. So he's not going to make the right decision. We're just hoping he's going to make the right decision. It sucks.
It really does suck. And, we just can't, we have to take our own health in our own hands, right? And regardless of the fact that he's opened everything at 100% capacity, people are now starting to stockpile again, starting to Girl, I went to the store. I could not get any tissue, any paper towels. I'm like, what is going on?
Why are we at this point again?
Right.
Why?
Right.
We learned this lesson back, March and April? We learned this lesson back in March and April. The stores are not closing. The toilet paper companies are not shutting down. There is no reason for you to hoard toilet paper. Nothing's closing. Grocery stores are an essential business. Target is an essential business. Walmart is an essential business. You'll be able to get toilet paper. So you all hoarding it still doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that part. And maybe there's some threat somewhere, some joke. I don't know. Maybe Jen has more information, but it doesn't make any sense to me that we're now back to hoarding items.
Yeah. And Dr. Jen, speaking of that, the throw to you, just to kind of talk about what kind of effect this has on our economy. COVID is still what it is, right? Even, people are hoarding, but we haven't heard back from a stimulus check or package yet. There's not money still being given out. So how are people going to handle it, especially around these holiday times?
Yeah, it's going to be extremely tough. I've talked to quite a few clients that I've dealt with that are still, unemployed or underemployed. The holidays, of course, make it even harder just because you want to be able to provide for your kids and your family. The whole hoarding thing, I don't get it at all. I think it's just, us us being privileged Americans thinking that we deserve to have it all and nobody else needs to, have any. I have no other explanation for that. But, economy wise, I mean, the whole DeSantis issue, Kia's absolutely right. I think he feels like he can't go back. It's like, well, I open everything. Oh, well, we're just going to have to keep moving forward, which is pretty much what he said. And that's all ego. That's him saying, I don't want to look like I made a mistake, when really he probably should go back and say, okay, I made a mistake. Maybe I shouldn't open so soon, or maybe there should have been some restrictions, and now he doesn't want to do that. So you're right, Keisha. We have to kind of take control of our own, health and make sure that we're just taking care of ourselves, because our government here in Florida does not have our back at all.
Not at all, honey. If it's not making dollars, it ain't making sense to him. Listen, Kenya, speaking of, this is stressful, right? This is a stressful time. The health of our communities, especially our African-American communities, are at an all-time, like, we have to be mindful of things. Sinbad just had a stroke. I'm not saying that it's related, but it could very well contribute. If he got, contracted COVID, I mean, it could be very detrimental to him. Like, we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and not stressing over things like this, especially doing stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, the word self-care has become really big and very important this year. There are a lot of people who are, juggling the demands of everyday life, and then you've got this COVID situation on top of it. I have not a close friend, but a good friend who is preparing to, say goodbye to some family members who were lost to COVID. And I can't even imagine the stress mentally and emotionally that's taking on that person. So yeah, we need to be aware that this is something that, even if we're not directly affected by COVID, just because we're dealing with knowing that there are family members and friends who have been affected, who have died, that also affects us. And we need to be very diligent about taking very good care of ourselves during this time. It's hard, but we can do it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And, we're certainly sending prayers to Sinbad's family and all those who have lost loved ones. I know several people who've lost loved ones to this COVID. And moving on into another topic in our piping hot segment, we're stressed for other reasons besides COVID in the Black community. They're still shooting our Black men. They're still killing our Black boys. There are two, cases that you're probably going to hear about very soon if you haven't already. There were 2 officer-involved shootings in Florida this week, one in Jacksonville and one in Dania Beach, Florida, that I know of personally. I know one of the victim's sister, the other, it's just very, very, very disturbing. And then here in Louisiana, we have this story that's been floating around about a young boy named Bobby Charles, who was found dead in a sugarcane field. Kia, what is going on with this story? This little boy was, like, they're saying it was for a white woman and her son about the same age, but the parents had no idea, don't know these people. Like, no. How did this even happen?
Yeah, I read this story, and it's highly confusing for me because I guess the son was staying with the dad. The mom came by to pick up the boy to go get a haircut. She couldn't get a hold of him. So the dad, because the door was locked, couldn't get the door. So he kicked the door in, and their child's not there. And then somehow it came out that he got in the car, left the house without anybody knowing, with a mom and her son who live in a local trailer park. And then 2 days later, his body is found. It doesn't make any sense, because I'm not sure what defense this woman has, but it has to be flimsy. No child leaves out of the house to just go get in the car with 2 random people. This doesn't normally happen. And it's definitely concerning. And as a parent, especially a parent of a special needs child who can be very trusting, to have your child think they're in a safe place with a mother and have them just die body found a couple of days later in a sugarcane field. Don't think that's not lost on me either, that he was found in a sugarcane field. It's just disturbing.
It is disturbing. I mean, he's a 15-year-old. Unless there was some cognitive issues going on, you know,
I'm not saying there was. I'm just saying.
no, I'm just saying, as a 15-year-old, you just don't say, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to jump in this car."
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's some type of relationship. There's something going on, and I mean, oh, it's just sad. It really is sad. And I hope that, you know, we pray for the family. We're sending our prayers and positive thoughts to them as they go through this hard time, for Kwan, Bobby Charles. But it's just really very jarring and similar to, I mean, just Emmett Till. It's the first name that pops in all of our mind, is that this is a modern day Emmett Till situation, right, Kenya?
We can see some similarity between the two cases, especially the nonchalance of law enforcement towards the whole situation. It's really sad that unfortunate that we can't depend on law enforcement to do what we need them to do in these type of situations, to kind of cast aside that something was wrong or that he wasn't in danger. Oh, he's at a football game. Who tells parents things like that? My understanding also is that they implored law enforcement to put out an Amber Alert for their son. They wouldn't do it. Why would you not do that? Why would you not turn over every stone, do everything you possibly can to bring this young man back to his family alive? And so it's unfortunate, but not surprising. I really do hate to say that.
Yeah. And then, you know, Dr. Jen, I mean, they've raised Dr. Jen quite a bit of money for this young man, to find justice for him. I mean, I think it's like $265,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole story is just so odd. I mean, like we've all kind of mentioned, like there's definitely something fishy about what has happened and what's going on, and hopefully it's, you know, there's so much hate crime. I mean, now I think we're up to like 7,200 hate cases, and now this white couple was the last to be seen with this black boy, and there's just so much weirdness going on with this story. It's hard to really understand what happened, but yeah, and then this money that was raised just adds to it. You know, and you know, that kind of falls in line with like making sure that we are saving enough money for our children and protecting our, you know, our families, to make sure that we do have insurance money and things like that as well, because, you know, we live in a time where most of us don't have insurance money to bury our children, which is really sad. So it's just a really bad story all the way around.
Yeah, it really is. And we're sending, like I said, we're sending our prayers and thoughts to them. Now, you know, Representative-elect Cori Bush wore Breonna Taylor mask, and some Republicans actually thought it was her name. Kenya, this is I can't even fix my mouth.
Oh no, right? Same. I'm like speechless. Seriously, I'm at a loss for words. However, I'm not surprised. Again, very disappointed though, but not surprised. This is exactly what we've kind of been shouting about all this time. You know, we matter. Our lives matter. And for elected officials, I don't care where you are, for elected officials to not be familiar with Breonna Taylor's name at this point, after all of the protests, all of the whole situation with the grand jury in Kentucky, you don't know her name. You think that's the woman's name on her mask. You think that's the person. It's really disappointing, but again, not surprising. And however, props to Cori Bush though for bringing Breonna's name back into you know, the public consciousness. It constantly needs to be out there, constantly.
Absolutely. And you know what? You know, Breonna Taylor, all of these situations, they've gone, obviously they're cultural, political, but you know, all of our brands are jumping onto this stuff too, and not being silenced, and they're not mincing their words. Specifically, Beats by Dre did this beautiful commercial that, if you didn't know, you know, it's basically saying you want our culture, you love the music, but you don't love us, right? And I thought it was absolutely powerful. Dr. Jen, This is all true. I don't see the line at all. It's like you want to dance to my rhythm, but you don't want to stand up for my blues type of situation, right?
Listen, I just watched it and it was definitely very powerful. And I hope that what they're trying to say doesn't get missed by other cultures because we get it, right? The Black community gets it. We are aware of the problem. And let's hope that other cultures understand as well, because it's absolutely true. I mean, hairstyles and dance moves and food items and all of these different things that Black culture has brought to America. And yet, when it comes to standing up for Black rights and Black Lives Matter, all of a sudden, those things seem to not be important when it comes to like respecting and loving us as people versus just loving what we bring to sports and culture and music. So very, very powerful commercial for sure. Loved it.
And you know what? Speaking of merging all of this political hip hop culture, rapper, if you remember him, Shine, is taking his voice and turning it into a political voice as well. He was elected to Belize. Belize is House of Representatives. So we'll one time for rapper Shine using his voice for his people in a very official way as a new representative for Belize. Now, let's jump into a little bit more of hip hop news and current events. So we all know the situation with Megan Thee Stallion, okay, rapper of the year. She is just, she's an amazing pop icon right now. But this situation with her and Tory Lanez, he said that this man tried to give her money not to speak about the shooting that, Tory Lanez offered Megan Thee Stallion money for her to be quiet. Like, Dr. Jen, this girl got her own money. This woman has her own money.
Yeah, the amount of disrespect just from that alone, it's crazy to me too, because, Tory Lanez came out with that whole video of, oh, I didn't do it, da, 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 which actually was a really good video. But at the end of the day, he really tried to push this imagery of Megan Thee Stallion being the crazy one, right? Because this is the image that we see a lot of times, Black women, oh, she's just a mad Black woman and she's just tripping and I ain't do all that, the whole nine. And meanwhile, deep down, what's really going on is he's trying to buy his way out of what he did, thinking that would be acceptable. And I'm very proud of Megan for standing up, because it's really hard for her to do with everything that she has going on. And as powerful as she is, this could have really gone in a very big different direction. But for her to stand up and say, listen, he tried to pay me to not speak on this, speaks volumes to the disrespect that I think a lot of women feel, in multiple industries when it comes to how we're treated as women. So, more power to her. I'm so happy for her, for winning the award, for Best Rapper of the Year. So, hey, she's still doing her thing.
Absolutely. And, it's all good, Megan. We got you. You're still the best of us. Once again, you're using your voice to speak for women, for Black women specifically, and we appreciate you. And we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and that we demand respect from others as well. All right, my Mocha Marvels, I appreciate you guys for always being here. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
All right, stay tuned. I'll be right back with Officially Jorge.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by the Klingman Group.
Good morning, Mocha Marvels. Don't go anywhere, because we have our Mocha Minute coming up next, brought to you by blackinflorida.com.
Your Mocha Minute is brought to you by Black in Florida, your online connection to everything that's Black in Florida.
All right, check out this week's Mocha Moment.
Maybe we should put a Cash App up or something.
Oh my God. This was craziness today.
Yeah, it was just a mess. Such a mess. Now I gotta figure it all out for the next 2 days and see what I can do.
Oh my gosh. Okay.